Season 5 of the podcast is here. Thanks so much to our title sponsor, Visit Bloomington. We would not be here without them. Check them out, visitbloomington.com.
Hey, say, honey, let's go out to eat. Relieve our culinary duties. With all these restaurants to sweep us off our feet, they're bound to turn us into foodies. No dishes, no dishes, no dishes. We'll have a bottle of wine for lights and have a good time. No dishes, no dishes.
All right, we're ready to rock. You guys good? Sweet. We're back with another episode of No Dishes Podcast. We're talking locally boiled bagels with Bloomington Bagel Company, Sue Aquila and Dawn Keough. Boom. Nailed it.
You did. You did.
Let's go.
There's a lot of vowels between the two of us.
Yeah. I struggled on bagel, which is the weird part.
That was really good. I was like that.
That should be the gimme.
You would be amazed how many people can't spell bagel.
Really?
So, all the time.
Are you like someone on an application, like, why do you want to work here? They're like, I love bagels.
Oh, no. Our application is what, 3 sentences?
Yeah, when can you start?
Do you have a pulse?
Can you work mornings?
Come on down.
Yeah. I love it because you guys are hiring for probably the different times than what we're like. If you can't work nighttime, we don't sell ice cream in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Whereas like you're not selling bagels at night.
Well, and have you ever seen some people's applications? They have like 30 questions on them.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, really? Seriously? You can tell within 10 seconds of meeting someone if they're going to fit your culture. And,
Oh, absolutely.
right. And if they can get up early.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My biggest pet peeve is if they don't like capitalize their first or last name or like their street address.
You have standards.
First time anyone's ever told me that in my whole life.
Dawn, we never thought about that.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I feel like on our old applications, way back when you first interviewed me, I think it was one of our biggest questions was brag time. You know, tell us about yourself.
Oh, I like that.
Which it gives somebody, an opportunity to say something that they find fun and interesting about themselves, something that, maybe you didn't know or little known fact,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mhm.
So that was always fun.
And it said brag time on the application.
Brag time.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so you can brag about yourself. And then Erin and I, my girlfriend Erin Thomas, she used to run the business with us, and she would always ask, if you were a bagel, what kind would you be? In the
See,
interview.
man.
I think that's a stellar question, and I think you just really get to the root of who someone is.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're a plain bagel. Cool.
Oh,
we
well,
we only do blueberry.
I
in
think
every
we're done
single
here.
year. Yeah.
I would eliminate him on blueberry.
Yeah. Blueberry. Yeah.
Cinnamon sugar, you're out.
I didn't know what the red flag bagels were
Yeah.
for you guys. I went to the east side, not shamelessly being like, oh, I went yesterday and what I did, I started in Indy at Einstein Bagel where I grew up, and I would always do ham Swiss on cinnamon sugar. And they like looked at me kind of weird
It's
when
really
I ordered
popular,
it.
actually.
Really?
Yeah.
But the guy, he's like, once he like baked it or whatever you call it and like smelled it, he's like, you know what? He's like, I was kind of judging you, but this smells great.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it. And it was phenomenal.
The
Did you guys?
sweet and salty combination.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
really
that's
popular.
exactly what I said. I was like, dude, who doesn't like sweet and savory?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, did you guys switch up your eggs? I feel like they're better now, or are they still the same? I might be
We're
crazy.
just getting better at it.
Yeah.
During
Lot
the
of
pandemic,
practice.
yeah, we had a lot of practice.
You're
Yeah.
like, we're just better at everything now.
No,
honestly,
well,
so.
I hope you improve all the time, right? We try. And going back to Dawn filling out an application, she didn't really need an application.
Oh, you did fill one. Oh, okay. Yeah. What did you say your bagel was?
That was 20 years ago. I have
Yeah.
no
20
idea.
plus years ago.
I don't remember what happened
Yeah.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of 20 years ago, when did Bloomington Bagel Company start?
1996,
Okay.
August of 1996. And true story, I had $150,000. That was it. The day I opened, I had nothing left. First customer comes to the counter. She wants a bagel toasted. I couldn't afford a toaster.
Oh, man.
So, and it happened to be, she was stunning. And now we've been married for 1 year less than the
Oh.
bagel store.
Wow. That took a
Yeah.
turn I did not see.
And most people don't. It turned out her name was
Like
Katie
we-
Weissmuller, and she was the IU volleyball coach, and we had never met before.
You're like, we
And
couldn't
she-
toast her bagel, but she had you toasty.
And
Is that it?
yeah, right? Is it hot in here or is it Katie?
It's going downhill
I
real
know it's
quick.
not the toasters. Yeah.
You
So,
don't need a
and she
toaster.
totally gave me shit because I didn't have a toaster.
Yeah.
She's like, why can't you toast my bagel? And then I don't know if you remember Quigley, but Partridge
like-
and Quigley
yeah,
Coffee,
mhm.
he's a dear friend, and he would always try to set us up. And later on, not long after that, we started dating and have been married ever since.
Wow. I love, what a great user. First customer?
Yeah, first
That is
actual
absolutely
customer.
insane.
Really can't make it up.
Yeah.
No, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Like you see that in a movie, you're like, oh, okay, like this is not really like
It really is.
realistic.
People talk about, they always ask, do you believe in love at first sight? And I always tell people I do. It happened to me.
You don't have.
That was your meet cute. Your
Yeah.
baby meet cute.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you not have like a like love at first bagel or like something like that? Like I figured
We
you had
should.
something like I don't know, love at first schmear. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's all. I
No,
got.
we should. But that's when we started. And then when did
I
you
started
start?
in 97.
97. Dawn was a student.
Yeah. That's
And-
a freshman at IU.
And she was just exceptional. And then she ended up leaving for a while and then came back and said, I want to work. And that was it. And we've been working together ever since.
So what was your role initially, and then kind of what is it now, and how has that grown?
Initially, when I started, I was a freshman. I just worked in the stores.
Yeah,
just,
worked the
just
line.
Customer service, worked online.
Are you a food lover seeking a home that suits your culinary cravings? Have Micah Heath with Carpenter Realtors scout out the perfect home for you and your family. Whether it's with a well-equipped chef's kitchen or a prime location near some of the amazing Bloomington restaurants featured here on the podcast. I personally know Micah and can't recommend him highly enough for your next home purchase or sale. He'll sell your home faster, for more money, and with less inconvenience to you. Find out more at micahheath.callcarpenter.com. The Bloomington Town Planner is a community calendar owned and published by local residents John and Sharon Martin. Mailed out to Bloomington homes in December of each year, it features school schedules and community events. And don't forget the coupons at the bottom of the calendar. They'll save you money and help you decide on the next restaurant or retailer to check out here in the Bloomington area. Town Planner also has an online calendar which can be found at townplanner.com. Make sure to sign up for their weekly e-newsletter so you can stay on top of all the fun events going on around town.
I started in the 97. I was a freshman at IU studying psychology, which I still to this day will tell you, psych, soc, and criminal justice have gotten me so far in this business.
Okay, all
Getting
right.
to know your staff, getting
Yeah,
to know
yeah.
people. We always joke about it. But worked the line for a couple of years. And then I worked at Kilroy's. I worked at Sports for a while. Did some bartending, did some serving. And then, little known fact, I did the dolphin show at the Indianapolis Zoo.
Oh, you were like one of the trainers.
I was the
Should you show them
person-
your
Not one of, you're like these.
Should you show them the
Stop
tattoo?
it.
She has a dolphin tattoo, which then I had to explain to her was a whole gay
do.
thing. Don't even get me started.
Can you make like a really good dolphin noise? Is that like part of
Could
the
you?
gig?
That cost extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Gary, how
Maybe
much
next
have
time.
we sold any advertisements this week? Can we pay for that? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll find
That's
a
awesome.
specific advertiser just to pay for the dolphin
Yeah, yeah.
sound.
Perfect.
Perfect.
noise.
Perfect. You have your people call my people.
I love it.
Perfect.
Um,
But I was the person that actually wore the headset mic for the hour-long dolphin show and had to walk around and remember every word, bring the little kids up to pet the dolphins and feed the dolphins and do all the fun stuff. It was amazing. It was at the zoo and it was an internship.
and you said
And I did it one summer.
right?
Indianapolis Zoo. Yeah, it was amazing.
What-
Sammy Cetacean. That was my name.
Oh.
I had to dress like a sailor. Had
all
a
right.
little, I mean, I was a cute sailor.
Yeah.
You're like, not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna own it.
Yeah. But it was so fun. And that was always my dream job growing up, was to work with sea life.
I feel like that's
And then
a
I ended
lot,
up,
yeah.
landlocked in Indiana and ended up staying here. But I did come back and start working at BBC. It was just something that it was something that was really comfortable. I was pregnant with my son Jordan at the time.
Great.
And
Great
I was
name
like, you know
choice.
what? I know it was beautiful. I named him after you.
Yeah. You know my mom.
but
Get
yeah,
along great.
we would.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Well, I'll work here for a while, right? And the woman that was running the business before for Sue was getting ready to leave and do some other things. And Sue was like, hey, we went down to Soma.
Mhm.
And she was like, you know what? I'd really like, you to stay here for a while and help me run the business. And I was like, okay, that sounds wonderful. Jordan's little. This is perfect. And I mean, immediately we were family. I mean,
I
that
love
was
that.
was a no-brainer. And 20 years later,
Well, and
Here we still are.
She became the chief operating officer for all of it. So she really
I
She
love that.
no, she
They do
really
the hair flip.
she's the complete package.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
she is excellent at it, and the things that she is really good at, I am not. So I think we complement each other well.
100%.
That's
and
huge.
and I think that we're very loyal to each other too, and we always back each other up. And I think that makes a huge difference as well. And she's super bright, excellent with people, in front of the counter, behind the counter. I mean, it really she has the total skill set.
That's so. That's how I always have to relate everything to the Moose, but I've been there 9.5 years with our owner Justin. And
Yeah.
like, we'll butt heads here and there, but like again, we're the yin to the yang. Like
Yeah.
my skill sets
Yeah.
are his weaknesses and vice versa. So
Yeah.
it's like I love 20 years. I don't know if I can go 20 years as much as I love Justin. 9.5 has been good, but 20.
Well, the end game is that it will eventually be Dawn. So that's
Nice.
That is kind of
And then, in any relationship, we have our ups and downs. There are days where,
I'm a pain in the
we're-
ass.
Yeah.
I know I am. I mean, I totally get it.
Well,
So,
but it goes back to family and loyalty and all of that, and you can't expect, I'm not going to be perfect every day, and
Absolutely.
she knows that. And I think that is why one of the reasons that we are so successful is that we don't expect that of anyone else
Right.
either. Right. We never expect anyone to do anything that we wouldn't do. I think that's why we lead so well you'll see me on a busy Saturday. I'm behind the line. Sue's making coffee drinks, running back and forth, spilling it all over herself. I'm a mess. I'm a sweaty mess. We're back there, but we're laughing. We're joking. Is it hot in here? Or is it just Sue? That joke still happens,
And it still kills every time.
Every time. It never fails. And she's over there groaning and because it's always, in a college town, right? You always have a new team. So I can do that joke every year, Jordan.
Yeah.
And it's a new drum roll every time.
and every April Fool's Day, I hate because Dawn gets me every April Fool's Day with the worst practical jokes. Like one time they had one of our production people. I come in and she's lying on the floor with a bag of flour
Jen.
on top of her, with flour everywhere, like the stack of flour had fallen on her. Dawn's like, "Oh my God, Sue! Oh my God!" And my first response, whenever there's something like that happens, is I just take a pause, like, "Okay," and I think
That's
about
exactly
it.
it. She goes, okay.
Assess the situation.
One time she,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
And then there was a time in the meat slicer where you faked like you cut your finger off and had
man.
ketchup.
I did. That was bad.
I hate it. And then my wife is the same way. She loves April Fool's Day, so I just crawl into a hole.
She gets it from
for
both
24
sides.
hours. I'm like,
There's no safe place.
There's no
and I would say
reprieve
a week before and a week after April Fool's. It's
I
just
hate the
you gotta
holiday.
be
It's so
Well, hey,
much.
it's better than having a boring life,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
we don't have that. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, I
That's for
love
sure.
that. I feel like you said, it's such a big thing for staff to respect you, for them to know that you know how to do it all. It's nothing that you haven't done or that you can do well, and that the biggest thing too is just having fun while you're doing it.
Exactly.
Because people want to see like, oh, they're just having a blast.
Yeah,
They're
we're like,
just
it's just bagels, like we're here to
you.
have fun. We, give bagels, give love, give laughter, all of the things.
And I think the other thing that we provide, we are a matriarchy for sure. And the restaurant business is not the safest place always for women.
right.
And if you happen to be GLBTQIA anything, it's also not a safe place for people. And the one thing that we both have as our mutual values is that we protect people and we provide them with a safe place. And they feel like that. And I think that really makes our business better, makes us better. We're always looking to hire people of color. We're always looking to hire people that might be non-binary or trans. So it's a kind of place that people can really feel comfortable and excel at their work, and that's it. There's nothing else involved.
Yeah, work is hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
Without knowing like, oh, I've got a bigoted coworker, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean, not feeling safe because
Well-
it's already so insanely stressful to not have a full blown mental breakdown without
Right.
other factors.
Right,
coming in.
and especially for these kids coming out of a pandemic. It's just been super hard on them.
Yeah,
And-
we've seen some really, really, really tough issues with just mental health and emotional health coming out of this, and I've seen it with my own kids. It's just this was really hard on, and then socializing to get to that next level. All of these kids missed out on a good 2-year chunk, no matter if it was middle school, high school, whatever to move on to the next stage in their life where it's hard to figure out how to socialize, how to communicate with your peers, how to communicate with your supervisor.
How to date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dating, everything has
Well,
been hard.
your growth, and then it just all comes
Yeah.
to a screeching halt, and it's like, how do we even know what that's like?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
and-
just starting over.
Anything like that, you
No.
know?
And this generation is my favorite, the Gen Z, because they will talk about their challenges with each other.
Right.
They'll talk if they're on medication, if they're seeing a therapist. They'll support each other. They love each other. They tell each other they love each other all the time. At first, it threw me off a little bit, but it's genuine. They mean it. And so it's been really, as much as they've had all these challenges, I think they're going to make the world a better place.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's just so nice that mental health isn't, stigmatized like
Right.
it has been over the years. And
Nothing stigmatized at BBC.
Like,
We're
it's all out
like,
there.
bring it all to us. Give it to mama. Give it to mama. I got it. And they do. They call me mom. I mean, half of them are like, hey, mama, love you. And I mean, I always get sweet notes. I mean, I always say when we hire new people, I say, welcome to our dysfunctional family. We don't pretend to be functional. I think
Yeah.
we're functional, dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a good
We
way.
function well because of the dysfunction.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's just, I think we're just fun.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're fun, we're funny. I think humor is the way to get through literally anything in life.
Absolutely.
And if I can't laugh in a day, I feel like that day has been a failure.
I also think part of the attraction too is that because we're a morning business, we tend to get really good students because they want to study at night. They have other commitments. So they're so bright. I mean, any one of them can run things easily. I mean, it's crazy.
That's what I've always said is like we're so lucky to have, because our Walnut location is almost exclusively IU students, so a few high schools.
It is. Yes, I noticed
And
that.
You look at like in my 9.5 years, what some of them have gone on to do is more than I'll ever achieve in my whole life. And
Yeah.
it is so crazy. Like, what? That dude's a fighter pilot and he was scooping ice cream for
Yes,
us. Or
right.
just, they just graduated from law school. And it's, it's such a weird dynamic in a good way in a college town.
Right,
To have
right.
that. And then you got to be a small part in that stepping stone for them to just go do better things. And I love that you said it's just bagels. That's what I always say. It's just ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, you have to have fun when you're just slinging ice cream, you're slinging bagel, and you have a young staff. Like it works.
Keeps us young, that's for sure.
See,
Yeah.
it keeps me young, but it also makes me feel very old sometimes.
Yes.
Really?
When I hear,
I
like,
was
a
going
new
to skip
term-
over that part.
No, I was laughing today. I'm like, I'm listening to Boy Genius now. I'm like, they just keep me current, and it's great. I
Yeah,
love
you
it.
know the new slang. You're always finding out new
Yes.
ones.
Slay.
Slay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's I hear
Yeah.
that I think
Which I
192
feel like-
times
don't
per
you
day.
feel like we had that 15 years ago with Slay?
It was.
And now
It was.
it's like
Okay,
that was
back-
back in
yeah,
our
'cause
that was
that-
back in our day.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be kind of the what was it?
That was like Bill and Ted.
What was with Alicia Silverstone?
Clueless.
Clueless.
Yeah.
thank you.
That's
Yeah.
back now.
I feel
Mean
like
Girls,
that would be
Clueless.
from like the Clueless era.
Right, right.
Like
And now
Slay.
everything old is new again.
Yeah, I'll have staff tell me Slay Girl. I'm like, what?
Well, or I'll just say they'll ask me a question and I say, yes, slay.
Yeah.
Mary. I mean, in our meeting today, slay.
I've had it. The one that gets me, and I finally have found myself. Like, it's been a process where like I find myself wanting to say it and seeing where it fits is say less. Where
I
they're
say
like-
that.
Where they're like,
I
say
do.
less. Like I hated it so much at first.
I
really
kind of
did.
love that one.
Because I'm just like, why are you telling me to stop talking? They're like, no, it's a good thing. It means I understand.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Say no more.
Well, it's the equivalent of herd, which is what I grew up in serving
Yeah.
bartending.
That's
was
back.
Herd. Herd is great. I don't want Herd to ever leave.
Does your staff do a lot of stuff from the Bear? We get that a lot.
Not
Chef.
too much.
Yes, chef, all
Dude,
the
I
time.
would love that because again, my heart is always in full service restaurant, serving
Yes.
bartending. 'Cause that's kind of where I came up. But yeah, we don't have quite that same dynamic because everyone's just same with you guys is front of house and back of house.
Right.
You know, and there's nobody's a chef.
No,
Yeah.
well, no, I
Oh,
think
no.
no, but that's why we use it because it's a big joke.
Yeah,
because
I know.
we know.
Which I think is hilarious. I would
Yeah.
love it if our staff picked that up. Like,
Yeah.
chef. It's whoa,
Yeah. It cracks me up.
right away.
Let me get to that.
So what was your first location for Bloomington Bagel Company?
Dunn Street. It was a Kinko's, and I couldn't find a location, and I got a call one night and said Marjorie Hudgens owned the building. And Kinko's was leaving their lease. Do you want it? And I basically took it sight unseen because I knew how good it was.
And this is where you're at now on Dawn.
Yes.
Okay.
And I still, to this day, cannot believe she leased it to me.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, nowadays, someone like me would never get a location like that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
It'd be
absolutely.
a national chain or something like that. And she was great about, yep, you can have it. And I was grateful that she gave me the opportunity. So that was the first location.
How long did it take you to expand it to?
It happened. Well, I think we did 3rd Street. Second was the next second location.
It was.
Right?
It was. And it was connected to the printing
Collegiate
shop.
Copies.
Collegiate Copies.
Yeah. So twice I have sublet locations on 3rd Street. And it's a great location for us, but nothing changes over there. So the only way you get in is if you sublet. But the risk is if the person you're subletting from decides to leave or loses their lease, you're done.
Right.
So that's happened twice on 3rd Street.
Wow.
So I had the Collegiate Copies. Then I was serving on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I saw kind of where the community was growing and moving. So Morden Street location was right in the middle of everything that was happening. So leased that, and then eventually the shops on Cosmo Road.
Yeah. So what
So-
was that timeline like? How long was it until you had that 3rd Street? You know,
I think over 5 to 8 years, probably. It wasn't fast.
It was not fast, no, because I was there because I had left for a while and I came
Yeah.
back.
And then we outgrew all of it. That was the problem. So I eventually was able to buy the building thanks to Marjorie, who I still owe for that. Not owe financially, but I always treat her still like my landlord.
yeah. It's
Whenever I
just
see her.
ingrained in you. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was so kind to sell me the building. But the building was falling down.
Falling down.
And then the oven broke. And those ovens, as you may or may not know, are massive. They're not easy to take apart and it would be a shutdown for weeks just to replace the oven. So then I had wanted to develop the property and unlock some vertical value. So I ran by Dawn and I was like, this is what I'm thinking. I think we get a commissary. We centralize our everything. We produce everything there. We take it to all of our locations that will allow us to build this building and do that. So that's when eventually we added the commissary and got a new oven and production's all over there. And it's great because we have a, truck access. We've got everything over there. And it's part of One World's kitchen share place.
Oh, I didn't know the commissary was up there.
Yeah, we have a bay there, our own bay.
Yeah.
So, and it's been great. And that was super helpful because we also have a lot of catering. So we can do a lot out of that location specifically.
So you had been doing all of everything was baked at the Dunn Street and then
Correct.
distributed from there.
But it was so small. I mean, we couldn't.
I still can't go back and think about how we did it.
Do you
How we made it
remember-
That's kinda
happen. It was
crazy
like
to me.
pulling a rabbit out of a
Do you
hat.
remember the flour delivery? The guy would deliver the flour and he'd have to hand carry.
One bag at a time. And Jay, do you know Jay from One World?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Jay, he used to order a lot of our 9-grain and flour from us, and I would have to go pick it up from him, or he would have to come pick it up from us. And we are huffing bags of
What are these
Yeah.
50-pound bags?
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Just in and
Oh,
out
yeah.
this door. Not even a cart. Jay would come in and be like, "Here we go," like take another one out. We still laugh about it because he and I mean, we talked today. We're still really close because he runs the commissary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son actually was helping out the other day, and he said, "Man, that's a really cool guy. That's a really nice guy." Talking about Jay, I was like, "Jay's my dude, man. We go back years." He was like, "I never knew that." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah." He was like, "He's got your back," and that's one thing I will say about Jay and the commissary. If we need anything, they will. Hand over the shirt. That's been a fantastic thing. One of the things I 100% miss from baking at the commissary was those late night, early mornings where I'd have to go in and bake, and the things you would see out that window.
Oh, Dunn Street. Bacon at Dunn Street. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. Well,
People would be walking out, they just put their face on the
I know.
They're knocking like, "Can I get some bagels?" We tried to do late night one time. And I think it
Just
lasted, was it one night that it
No,
lasted?
I think it lasted like a week. I think it lasted a week until
these broskies came in and pushing each other around, a little too much tequila, maybe it was a fireball night. I don't know what was going on, but they were rowdy, pushing each other, and one of them pushed the other into our bakery case, glass bakery case. And when I say he fell into it backwards. And he's lucky. I hope he was still able to have children years later because it was not
He could
a
have
pretty.
literally died.
Yeah.
It was
Wow.
that bad.
Really?
And we were like, okay.
We
No.
finished that night.
And we're done.
Yeah.
Put the clothes sign
I mean,
up.
that's a whole. I have so much respect for the people that have to bartend the late
Yes.
night scene.
Yeah,
or
I
like,
can't
And I'm like,
imagine.
I've done that in the past. Do I want to go back to that? I don't know. Those late night phone calls, if
Yeah.
somebody doesn't show up then. Baking's different. That's early in the morning, but those late
We've
nights.
kind of aged out of that.
Yeah, I think we have.
Yeah, it's I mean, I feel like I'm already I'm
Yeah.
just like because even when I was bartending, it was a restaurant bar. It wasn't like
Right,
bar.
right.
Like you're not home until 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
and that's like. How do you even find your body's not meant to be on that schedule?
No.
And-
No.
But if you're in college and you're making great money, or even like my friends at the Bluebird that are
Oh,
older
yeah.
than me that are crushing it, like,
Yeah.
good for them.
Love
and
it.
you get used to it, and there's definitely that. It's not monotonous. I'll tell you that.
No.
You know, it keeps you on your toes.
And again, with new people coming in and out, there's always something new. There's always something interesting going on. And just seeing how culture changes and how people change and even just how people dress changes. Like just to be at a
Yeah.
place like that for so long, just to see the ups and downs and
Yep.
the ins and outs it's an interesting, I love people watching. So that's definitely something that would, has always been interesting to me. And one of the reasons I love customer service and like the catering aspect of it, I am a huge people pleaser. I can't say no. I can't say no. I can't say no. No.
And you're exceptional at the catering.
I get
they're-
texts, I get phone
they love
calls, we
you.
get emails, and I'm like, they're like, can we do it in the morning? I know it's 6:30 at night, but 6 a.m.? I'm like, okay.
We'll find a way.
Can I get 200 egg and cheeses in 6 hours?
Okay, I'm gonna go to bed now. See you in the morning. Yeah, but I can't. That is my biggest thing is I have got to make people happy.
Yeah, there's something to be said for problem solving, and just like
Yes.
making something happen that like most people will be like, oh, that can't happen.
Because that's how you gain a customer for life. That's how
Yeah.
you gain a relationship that turns into more than that. That's how you just overall can be an exceptional business. Is that you don't turn people away.
Right.
And that we are so responsive. We immediately respond to people.
Almost too much. So.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't
actually,
want
we
you to
might want
slow
to dial
down.
that back. Yeah.
but I really think, you think about if you have a problem at a national chain or something, or you need their help, getting somebody to even pick up the phone is almost impossible,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, even us with DoorDash right now, it's like, I hate how much we get from them because it's so impossible for me to even get a hold of our account manager.
Right.
And
Right. But we can stand out as local businesses by being super customer service oriented, being really fast, and knowing that if they email or text us, we'll respond.
Right. Well, and we don't have the same buying power as larger chains.
No.
So, our costs are going to be a little more expensive. So you have to have that experience of when you come
Yeah.
in. It isn't just the food product. It is the customer service
Yep.
and the ambiance, and just like they know that, Bloomington Bagel Company is involved in the community. They're doing a Dine and Donate. They donated to our silent auction. There's all those. That's what this podcast is about, is local places.
Right.
And what is the differentiating factor? And honestly, the biggest one is the people.
Yes.
Because like I've always talked about how, everyone thinks, oh, it's a food podcast. It's a people podcast. It's like the stories, because there's been so many people I've known for years, and I don't get to know them nearly as well as I do until they sit down with
Yep.
me here.
Right.
And it's like so crazy how much more I learn just from it. But it's sad that you have to have a microphone and some cameras, but it works. It's cool.
Well,
And
Well,
it's
you're
like-
getting in
think-
front of people, which I think is great too. And
Yeah.
podcasting is bringing back so much more of that conversation that think about it. For a decade, there wasn't anything.
right. Yeah.
There was nothing like this.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden to be able to sit down with somebody across the table and talk about things that maybe you normally wouldn't if you just saw them on the street. What you're doing is fantastic.
Well, and here's the other challenge is that the food business is becoming a tech business. And we're seeing AI penetrate. We're going to see all kinds of robots, all of it.
Self-serve order kiosks. Yeah.
All of it. And so we're doing a lot of cool tech stuff now, but we're also juggling with that. We believe that part of the reason people come to us is for that personal service. So it's kind of this balance of how we're going to apply some of these tools in a way that makes sense, but also keep this genuine, oh, Dawn was there, Sue was there. We know the people behind the counter kind of thing.
Absolutely. Well, like you said with staffing and like, do you have a pulse? We'll hire you. It can be tough finding people to work all the shifts you need, especially across multiple locations. So at some point you're like, man, a self-serve order kiosk doesn't sound like would solve a lot of problems. So it's like, will you ever hit that point? Is it going to be a necessity to stay in business?
I guess the question is will it be a necessity? I would personally never like to get there.
Right.
And when I say, do you have a pulse? That was definitely a while ago. Now we have so many applications. We don't have enough positions for all the applications that we're getting. And I think that's because word gets out that it is a fun place to work and that, we're genuinely good people.
We also, with multiple locations for us, we get redundant systems. So we have people that can fill in.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful.
I've never realized how many similarities we have.
Yeah,
we have so many. 100%.
Well, because everything you're talking about, I relate to so much, even from our old production facility getting torn down.
Yes,
we got a commissary, a warehouse that we use to distribute out, and there's so many parallels.
And on a side note, my family is tied to your business because my best friend and her husband, Michael May, are the son of Dawn May.
Yeah, awesome.
So from the Penguin
I
days.
didn't know that.
I knew a lot about the chocolate mousse and the Penguin and all of that. So.
And Aaron Biggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, he was my neighbor.
Mr. Big Stuff.
He was my neighbor.
Yeah.
Yep. When they had the babies and everything. Yep.
Yeah, shout out. They just had Violet. He's now, it was his first National Daughters Day that he could post about, and
he was a boy dad there for a while.
He's the only other person alongside me that's kind of over all the locations.
Yes,
so we get where he helps make my life a lot easier.
And he is a great guy. He's so funny. His wife, Emily, is fantastic. They're salt of the earth, really good people, and just genuine. I mean, she's still teaching.
Yeah. Over at Fairview.
Yeah.
And then Aaron's the president of the PTO. And then
that does not surprise me at all.
The most adorable little things you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, look at all our connections.
I know. I didn't even realize. Well, so Aaron came on season 1, or season 4, first season recording here. And that was a lot of fun. We worked together every day, so I didn't get to learn too much more than I didn't like I do with other people. And then Dawn just came on with Tim. So they'll be the second episode of this season.
Great.
Yeah, so their episode will come out before this one.
That's fantastic.
And that was I got to nerd out so much on that.
Oh my God. Dawn is a flippin' trip.
When I was at the stand, he was our landlord. So he'd be coming by all the time in the maroon van. And, I got to chat with him a lot then. But and he even came out when we opened the Brown County store. I don't know. I always forget the saying he says when I was like, "How's it going?" Or it's like, "Life treating you okay?" He's like, "Not treating me enough." Or one of those like old timey sayings. It's like, "Oh, Doran, you pistol."
He has a lot of them. He has a lot of them.
Yeah, but he's 94 and still pretty sharp, and you could tell he loves talking. He loves talking about how much he hated the restaurant business, and that's why they got into ice cream only.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, and then he hated the fact that they leased it out for 10 years, and then when they got it back is when Tim took over, and he's just like, that guy ran it in the ground. Which, I mean, if my family had built something up since 1933, for at that time 40 years, now we're celebrating 90 years.
Right.
But I'd get upset too if someone didn't run things how I kind of wanted them to be ran.
Yeah.
But cool, small world.
It is small world.
So what? When you made the decision, I love the term you used, vertical value.
Vertical value, yeah.
So you have that whole building, and you're in charge of those studios and apartments now too.
No, I hire a management company.
Okay. You're like, dude, I don't take on that much.
I know my personality is not wired for that. Yeah. So, but yes, we worked with. It was a great project. We worked with Strausser Construction. We tried to do everything through all of our local vendors. So Man Plumbing, who we still use, ESI for electrical. My goal was to do as much to hire everyone local in the community. So it was a great project, and we're super happy with it, and our tenants are super happy.
I want to backtrack a little bit to when you first started your first location. What were the biggest challenges that you just didn't see coming, that you didn't expect?
I didn't expect to be so popular out of the gate. So
the toaster, right?
The toaster, the toaster.
I realized everyone wanted a hot bagel.
The third day, we blew out the third year of my business plan, which I always tell people now is write very short business plans and understand that you'll probably not be using it very quickly. The other mistake I did not foresee, we were so popular so fast. At one point, IU owed us so much money, and I couldn't I was cash flow poor, couldn't make payroll. And my friend Bruce Jacobs, who was dean of students at the time at IU, had come in the bagel store. And I said, Bruce, I don't know what to do. IU's not paying me and I've got to make payroll. He had a check hand delivered that day.
Wow.
From IU. So I always tell people, we always think about when we start a business, what if I don't have enough income? Well, what if you have too much? What if you have too much business? And then how do you manage that kind of cash flow? And so it can be an equally difficult problem when that happens. So that was a lesson I had to learn early on, which was super helpful. Technology has changed that so much now because everything's electronic and people pay faster. And
right. It still can take a while. I mean, we do a lot with IU. It still can take a while to get paid sometimes. So you do have to have, especially Welcome Week comes along and you're doing all these events and you'll see those checks maybe at the end of August or it'll come through. You know.
Purchase orders are fantastic. I work closely with IUAP and they're really on top of it. But when you're waiting on a paper check, you might be waiting for a little bit, honey.
We do so much. We've gone pretty much to the cloud in everything from accounting to electronic payments to everything we're doing. So it really speeds things up now.
Yeah.
And technology's been super helpful.
I know you said you or you're starting to utilize technology in different ways. Mm-hmm. What are some of those ways other than what you just mentioned? Is there anything that like customers might notice or is it more just on the back end?
They'll notice the online store now that we have that has been super helpful and gives people another way to not have to interact. Some people don't want to interact, right?
Yeah.
And it gives them another option. And
post-pandemic, right? People are still kind of like, man, if I can just place this, run and pick it up, be on my merry way.
So we've set it up so that we build it ourselves and you can Apple Pay your order. You don't have to register. It's super simple.
Nice.
People can be done in 30 seconds and their order will be ready and waiting for them in the store.
I might have to start doing that because I'm not a person that like, I hate phone call. Like I don't mind calling in, but it's really easy to just go in and you might find ways to customize your sandwich you didn't realize were you could.
Exactly,
and
right?
So you're like,
we found that a lot.
You start like seeing, like sales of this sauce has gone up a ton.
Yeah.
No one saw it written in the corner.
Scallion horseradish cream cheese.
So popular.
That sounds so good.
Oh, it's amazing.
Those are three things I love all rolled into one.
Oh my God.
Man, you're killing me.
So good. So so that kind of technology I think is super helpful. And I think I see ways that I'm going to advance it further over time. So, but it's great. It just enables.
Can we clone some of our
clones?
Our best team members?
I'm
always like, what do you need? I'm like, a clone of myself. A clone of Kate, a clone of so-and-so, a clone of so.
Well, and it's to the point now I can run the whole business off my cell phone anywhere in the world.
That's great.
So, it's spectacular. And again, it's all these tools are out there that can help us do that.
Who do you guys use for your point of sale?
We use Square.
Yeah, great.
Because, what do you guys use?
So we have Touch Bistro, but we use Square for events.
Okay.
Yeah.
We used to do it ourselves. Remember those old micro systems?
Oh, yeah.
And I started to get nervous because the credit card stuff. And then I saw there was a bunch of cloud register systems, and I was like, if we go to this, we don't have to worry about how we're storing credit card numbers. We don't have to. Because I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, people were worried. The companies were worried about you being hacked, so you had to have all the security.
And it did happen.
And then it happened. It did happen.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that might have been before. I thought
it probably was before your time, but
that
happened to Nick's. Remember that?
Oh, you'd remember.
And so I was like, because you had every store then had to have a computer, a server, and all the stuff, and I was like, we're done.
And when it would go down in the middle of busy day, it was, you're on the phone.
Calculator.
Literally abacus out. It was bad.
Yeah. And the thing about Square, they did have an outage recently, but it's never happened to us. They had an outage after we closed. So we've had 100% uptime.
Nice.
So to me, it's, you pay, and it was actually the fees were less than what I was getting from Chase.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's gone up a little slightly since then, but the whole point is that I can run it off an iPad. iPad breaks. I have another one within hours.
Right.
And set it up and we're good to go.
Yeah, we switched. We were with like Redfin and Micro Sale, but dude, it was so. And I'll go on a Touch Bistro soapbox for a second.
Yeah.
Well, and we were doing an event when that Square outage happened. By the way,
No.
yeah,
You were?
Yeah. It ended up all working out okay, but we were just like, what happened to 1,500 worth of sales? And it eventually
God.
all like came back.
Okay.
Right.
But it was very
But
scary for a minute because I thought we were just gonna be out. That
I
you
was
know?
worried that businesses would be out too. I thought they
Yeah.
had a ransomware attack or something.
But from what I can tell, everything worked out
Good.
and it's okay. But Touch Bistro, so our whole thing on this last one is like for me to edit a clock in, clock out time, I had to be at the Nashville store. I had to be at the Indiana Avenue. I had
Well,
to
you
be
couldn't
at
do
the-
it remotely.
Correct. And like editing menu items, menu prices, it was insane.
That would make me crazy.
Yeah. So I did all my due diligence. I'm talking to Lightspeed, Touch Bistro. We're familiar with Square. The thing with like Square and Toast is you have to use their credit card processing. And we have a credit card processor we wanted to stick with. So
Okay.
that was one thing. So kind of one hand
That
tied behind my
pigeonholes you a little
back.
bit, but
Yeah.
So Touch Bistro, we could do that through Cayenne, TSYS. It's like a third party. And they sold me like everything's cloud based. I'm like, oh, this is
the
amazing.
bait and switch.
And everything is except the clock in, clock out time. So still, like I was doing payroll last night. I had to call the Nashville store
Oh God.
and be like, I need these time because I can run the reports on the cloud, but I can't edit the clock out time when I can see so and so forgot to clock out. They've got a 33-hour shift. And it's insane to me that it's 2023. So anyway, they refunded us for like 4 months. But like my thing is we shouldn't be paying until and hopefully we'll clip this out and we'll tag Touch Bistro until
right.
they get this fixed.
Well, and here's the thing that gets me. Like I looked at like Clover, I've looked at all these ones, and they will just charge you to death on the levels of service.
Yes.
And I like with Square that we don't have to do that. And so it's worked out pretty well for us.
I've loved Square
Yeah.
we've used Square for events for my entire time.
Yeah.
And it's super easy, super intuitive. And the Touch Bistro is iPad based, so it's pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, kids, you give them an iPad, they can
Yeah,
figure
they
it out.
they can
Like,
figure
you
it
know
out.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll have someone like on their first day, it'll be after an hour, and they're up there taking orders on their own. I'm like, what is going on?
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
It's very intuitive.
They're
to
like,
them.
they know it.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
beat that.
Yeah.
Don't miss Constellation Stage and Screen's upcoming production of Curious George, The Golden Meatball. Join Curious George as he goes on a mission to save the Golden Meatball contest in Rome. This musical story of encouragement, determination, and selfless love will warm hearts and tummies alike. See Curious George, The Golden Meatball on stage October 20th through November 5th in downtown Bloomington. Find tickets at cconstellation.org. Season 5 of the No Dishes podcast is brought to you by VisitBloomington.com. VisitBloomington.com is the best resource for restaurant and culinary information, special events, fun activities, places to stay, and more in our area. We share a similar mission here on the No Dishes podcast of highlighting local businesses and the people who make our community unique. We can't thank them enough for hopping on board. Check them out at VisitBloomington.com to easily plan your next meal, visit, or night out on the town.
This is the first podcast I've done in person, so
Oh, nice. You done like a Zoom one? Or
mostly phone or like one was with Down Under. I had to do one, and then another one I forget. I think it was phone. So yeah, this is nice.
Well, I
like
love
this.
having a set, and
I like it.
It's going to be 1,000 times better conversation than if we were
Yeah.
on a Zoom.
I love
you
it.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys taking the time to be here. So where were we? I'm totally
Talking about registered systems technology.
Yeah.
I'm still.
Oh, we've come up with some fun. It's been going on for years, but we always try and come up with fun menu item names.
Yes. Well, wait. The one menu item that the staff hates with a passion. Are we good?
Yeah, sure. Can we cut into that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, not now.
I know.
The one menu item that our staff hates making is the hangover, which the hangover has every meat on it. Dawn developed the hangover. So whenever they get a little pissy about it, I'll hear them like, oh, no, the fucking hangover. And I always laugh because
Dawn.
they think it's me. And I'm like, that's all Dawn. Dawn came up with the hangover. But we've got like, Dawn also came up with the new Wake and Bake.
And that's the one that has the hash brown?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
That has
I saw the signage.
amazing.
And that was Dawn, and it is taken off. It is crazy. You'd think people would be like, no, that's enough carbs.
Nope.
They're like, nope, it's not enough. We need more carbs.
And then I'll take hash browns on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just load it up. Let's
Yeah.
go.
We've got the Supernova, which is a
Yeah.
breakfast sandwich with lox on it and egg.
the hot and bothered.
The hot and bothered. Sue came up with that one. I'm so.
Did you come up with that,
That
one as
was
soon as
so-
you had your
yes.
first customer?
Yeah.
Katie?
We'll name that the AKA
Well,
the Katie.
and here's how I test it. Katie grew up going to Catholic schools and stuff, which is so ironic. But I'll test the names on her, and I'll be like, "Hey, we came up with the wake and bake today." I don't like that. I'm like, score. That's gonna be a
Yeah.
great one.
We test everything on her.
I was
That's
like,
perfect.
Hey, hot and bothered. No.
No.
Yes,
The
another
hot
winner.
mess.
That's how you
Hot
know you have a
mess
home
is-
run.
Yeah.
Hot mess is super popular.
But I think it's keeping it relevant and keeping it funny and still using, whatever current slang it is. And, I think staying relevant.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really
Do you have
helpful.
someone different at each location that like does the chalkboard, or is that like one of you that goes around and does
So
those?
right now we have a woman, Olivia Throckmorton, and she is good friend of Madison, our general manager,
retail
retail manager. Madison Frederick. She is amazing. She came into my life and it was like angels when she came back.
Yeah.
It was rough for a
with
while.
us.
Yeah, she came back and is now my assistant and our retail manager. And I don't know how I did it before she came back. I think it was just hanging on by a thread, whiskey and a cigarette.
There
out
you go.
back.
It was the pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't know
It was
about
the-
you guys,
the
but
pandemic.
we literally went from this business to being a startup again in the pandemic. It was just like being a startup.
It was the three of us. It was
Yeah.
It was
Katie.
myself and you and your wife
Yeah.
making the dough, baking the bagels, going to the store, running it. I mean, it was literally just the three of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I feel like
It was our hell loop.
It was. It
That's a good name,
literally.
the hell loop.
It
Yeah.
was literally a hell loop. And it was, so then you go to this kind of this, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then you go back, then you're trying to rebuild like a startup all over again, right? And now we're back to pre-pandemic levels in terms of business, which is great. But it's definitely forgot how busy it really was.
Right. Yeah. How crazy it can get.
The last few weekends, we were like, hold on to your pants.
There was that
because-
moment, I don't know if you have this
The
in
tipping
Moose,
point.
but we talk about the tipping point. Like there's a moment where you're like, okay, the line's out the door to the curb at the other side of the building. Are we going to break?
we're going down with the ship.
Yeah, and
See,
you don't know.
That's my favorite time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
been a few months since I've had to but we have that maybe more in Nashville. Because
Yeah, I bet.
I can
such
see-
an
oh
influx.
my gosh, that's-
and we have the drive-through. So that's like, the cars are to the street.
But
and
at
then-
least with a drive-through, do you always think, I'm always like, if we had a drive-through, they wouldn't know they got something wrong till they left.
Or they're not staring at you, standing in the dining room going,
Yeah. No, I've never had that thought, but
I
that
think
is a
that.
plus that they're not in the dining room. The nice part with the dining room is they see what you're doing. They see
Right.
how many tickets are up. They see
Right.
that you're getting your ass kicked and
Yeah.
that you're trying.
Yeah,
You know,
sometimes
we're-
they just don't care though.
Yeah.
No.
You still get
They
those
are
few that-
nicer, though. I think that's
So-
the other thing from the pandemic. They are nicer, I feel like. It's going back again. Do you think like it's going back again, that people are starting to get a little more?
A little bit. Not as much as about 10 years ago. I mean, we would have some weekends where people would come in from out of state and you could
Yeah.
do nothing right.
And
I mean,
the worst is when they're with their kids because they just turn on each other. Remember
They
that?
do. That's
the
right. It's like
kids were mad
feral.
at the parents.
Yeah.
The parents are mad at the kids.
I just had one of my friends who serves was just like, man, I will take care of students all day versus their parents, because
Right.
it was during Parents Weekend a couple weeks ago. And
Yeah.
the student so much easier than you get like a entitled East Coast mom potentially
Right.
coming in. Not to say all East Coast.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
Did I mention him from the East Coast?
Yeah. Hey, I saved it.
No, but it is
And
so
I'm a
true. And
mom.
anybody that is a business
Well-
in this town understands that completely. That but that's part of it.
Yeah.
And you've got to show them that what was one of our taglines? New East Coast Bagels, Midwest Service.
Yeah.
For
Exactly.
years.
I like that. That's a great
For years.
tagline.
And I
Yeah.
mean, we still do it the old school way, the hard way. Everything is made from, during the pandemic, we were in there. I mean, you want to talk about finding flour in places? It was all day, every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it in my sleep. I mean, we hand make everything, which you don't find anymore. And it's it sucks sometimes. It sucks sometimes, but it is so worth it, and it's so valuable at the end of the day. And then you feel so good about it when you leave, and you're like, man, I just kicked ass, and I did all of that, and I just made 600 pounds of dough.
Yeah.
And I am willing to hear me roar.
There are days where I'm like, I wish we could just roll it all into a rotating rack oven or buy it frozen or whatever everybody else is doing. But Steam it. But, it really makes the difference. It's the real deal. It's the original recipe from the Bagel Bakers Union in New York City. We haven't changed it since the day we've opened. And it is a pain in the ass. It is labor intensive as you can possibly imagine and equipment intensive. But it shows. I mean, it's a great bagel. And it's worth it, but there are days we look at each other like, "What have we done?
Why are we doing this?"
Yeah.
Or when the mixer starts making a funny noise, we're all like, "Oh hell!" I mean, with your equipment, you're like, "Was that a leak? Is that the temperature too high?"
Machine.
We have this divider that is now 27 years old, and it broke. And this one piece, and thank God for Scott Jordan and his family, because
who are local.
They're local machinists. Off on the beeline, you'll just see him down the way in the beeline. And I know them from triathlon, and I called and I said, "Can you make this piece?" And he had to order something in special, had to design it,
fabricated it. I picked it up. This thing was heavy as hell. I remember going to pick it up.
But we couldn't. We had to hand make stuff till we could get it, and hand roll, which is not good for people's wrists and stuff. And
or their mental state.
Yeah,
but more importantly,
but he made it, and we were able to be up and running again. I mean, that's the beauty of Bloomington.
Well, I'm glad you dove into that. I wanted to bring up. I know I started with locally boiled.
Yeah.
What's the process of making a bagel?
Flour, water, salt, malt, yeast, non-diastatic malt. It's an art and science. So there's a reason in baking that we use formulas, right? You can't deviate too far. Like you can a recipe at home, you can experiment with, or in a restaurant. You can't in baking. You can experiment with formulas.
Yeah, isn't it? I've always heard it's like baking's like classical music and cooking is like jazz, where you can improv more.
But there is, I would
that.
agree with that. And but there's also an art to it. You're literally taking a living organism, and you're saying, "I'm going to feed you. I'm going to give you the right temp, but I'm going to put some stuff to control it." So like salt, and then I'm going to put you in what's called a retarder, which is cold. It's a walk-in that is cold, but it is reduced velocity. So it allows the bagel skin to form. So, but there's an art in terms of, did the dough rise enough?
Right.
Is it is it the consistency that we want? So it sounds simple in theory, but in practice, it does take some skill and some talent to do it. So there's a lot to the process. The dough needs to sit in the retarder for 24 to 48 hours to develop flavor, just like bread that you might get from a artisan bakery. It has to come out to temp. It has to hit the boiling water at the right temperature. It has to be scooped out of a kettle. Then while it's boiling hot, you take it with your hands and you put it on a burlap board. And the burlap board goes into a rotating rack oven, and you have to know how to flip it off the board exactly right, so you can have a certain number of boards on the oven.
It's flick of the wrist.
Flick of the wrist. I mean, it's all this stuff that goes into it that is truly hardly anybody's doing it the way we do it anymore.
Yeah.
But it makes all the difference, and that's why we have people that have us ship them into New York, Chicago. I mean, we're really making...
people ask us to ship them everywhere.
Yeah, which the shipping costs more than the bagels.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But yes, I sure will. Because you know me, I can't say no.
Yeah, you're like, absolutely. How do we make this happen?
Yeah. So there's a lot to it. And we've had a lot of really talented people doing the work.
Yeah, our team right now is the best I think we've had in so long. I mean, we've got some phenomenal people at the commissary. I could name them all, but it would take too long.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask is how many people do you have on a... Really? Wow.
All women bakers. It's the best baking team we've had.
Wow.
Except for Hien.
Oh, Hien. But you know what's funny? When you talked about music, we do find, and Brandy, who's our head baker right now, she is a musician. She actually does like scoring for movies and soundtracks.
Oh, wow.
And she's so talented. Just as finishing up her thesis. But you find that the dough making and the baking, people that are musically talented and gifted in that way do such a better job, and they enjoy it. It's because it's all rhythm based, right?
Huh. Yeah. That's
so
very
they really
interesting.
excel and enjoy it.
I never would have thought about that like correlation.
Yeah, it's really great. And then So Cassie from Two Sticks
Yep.
worked at the BBC.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, making
Yeah.
treats and stuff. And then the people that had the pizza place on the square. What was the name
Da
of that?
Vinci.
Dough.
King Dough.
King Dough.
King Dough.
Yeah.
BBC.
That's what I was
Yeah.
picturing.
Yeah.
I was picturing Adam and Alicia Sweet
Yeah.
in my head, but I said
B-
Da Vinci. Yes.
BBC alums.
Well,
so we've had a lot.
yeah, because
Yeah.
they started
Brendan.
with their old pickup truck with the
Yeah.
oven at Food Truck Friday. When
Yes.
we had it at the stand
We need a
before they got
BBC
the.
alum shirt.
We
that would
do.
be pretty fun.
We do.
Do like a letter jacket
Yeah.
instead of like the letters that just
Patches.
said
I think
bagel.
they were ever cool. I mean, even back in my day, they weren't cool. I don't know. I never got the whole letter jacket.
They're just always made too small.
By the way, Da
It's like a fat guy in a
Vinci's
little
does a
coat.
nice job.
They do.
Have you been
yeah.
there?
I have. Yeah.
Their dough and stuff, they really are doing a nice job down there.
When they had that oven shipped in too,
Yeah.
I
and
reached
it,
out.
It makes a
Ooh.
difference.
So the original owner, Mohi, who opened it, I had reached out to him. He was going to come on the podcast. Then we kind of lost touch for a few months, but he sold it. So I'm trying to get in touch with the new owner to see if he can come on.
I can
'cause
connect you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mohi gave me his number.
Yeah.
But I shot him a text. So maybe just put in a good word for me.
I will.
Be like,
I will.
Hey, that guy that texted you and that you
Yeah.
have no idea who he is.
He's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's not go that far. But yeah, like he's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
They make some nice pizzas down there.
well, and the pasta's great too.
Yeah,
It's really, and it is, that place pops off because I live underneath Uptown Cafe, and so
Okay.
I'm always
Yeah.
my walk or more times
Yeah.
than not a drive just to the Moose
Yeah.
is always right by Da Vinci, and
Right.
they are just popping
They
all
are.
the
time.
Unfortunately, everybody's catching on.
Yeah, that's the
So-
problem.
It was like kind of like my little secret there for a while.
Yeah,
I took Eric there,
we
and
like
it was
to-
kind of low key, but
And
now
you
you
can
can't
eat
even get in.
outside,
Yeah.
and we really like it for that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
and
then
I don't
I-
know about you. We're always thinking about what if there's another variant? Like, what's going to
Right.
happen, right? So that's been one of the other things. We do a lot of planning, like around things like that. Like, what if the restaurant business changes again? What is it going to look like?
Yeah. Do you know how you would pivot?
Luckily, we didn't go fully back. We didn't
Yeah.
backtrack and go back to the way we did it pre-pandemic, which was people coming all the way into this, walking all the way back. So we've kind of bumped up the front customer service.
I've noticed that
station
on
there.
Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we have
had
so
to
much more
because it
room
was
for
just-
activities.
It was too small.
You're back there doing toe touches.
You already know.
Yeah.
You already a stepbrothers
the
all the way.
garage, the
Yeah.
garage doors just help so much because we could protect the staff and the guests. So we always know we can go back to that if we need to. And now that we've fully enabled online ordering and stuff, that would be another fallback for us to do that. So
That's a very good point. And
Yeah.
we've kind of because our online ordering is going so well, and we just went ahead and signed with Grubhub. That's been huge.
Yeah.
Because of the Crimson,
Crimson
Card.
I would
Definitely do
interesting,
it.
because we
Do-
well, so
well,
we
you
left,
have DoorDash,
Well, we
right?
have DoorDash. So we used to have 5. We used to have Delivery.com, which was Mr.
Wow.
Delivery before.
Oh, you are glad for
Didn't they go
punishment.
out though? They went out like
Yeah, we left them. Well, I don't know.
I think they went out of business. I
So,
felt like.
well, B-Town Menus did.
B-Town Menus
So they
did.
went out of
That's what
business.
it
They
was.
still owe us money and a lot of
Oh,
people
sorry.
money. Yeah, it's okay. And then Uber Eats, which kept having orders placed, but no driver would accept them because they just want to drive people. They don't, you know what I mean?
Right,
so,
right.
And then Grubhub, they had this terrible return policy. They've changed it now, but like people could just say, "Hey, this was messed up," and they would just refund the money. You're out that money, and there was no verification process.
Right.
That happened to us
And-
one time, and that was before we got the printers, and it hasn't happened since. So I think
Yeah.
they've gotten better.
They did. Well,
I always said I would never do one of the delivery companies.
Really? Yeah,
I
and
was
I get it.
adamant. But then Grubhub added the Crimson Card.
Well, and they made it so we left Grubhub because of that return policy,
Yep.
and then we have DoorDash, and DoorDash was 80% of all of our third-party deliveries out of those 5.
Oh,
so we're like,
wow.
dude, let's just go DoorDash,
Right.
get rid of the headache. But then Grubhub reached out, a couple months ago, said,
Yes.
"Hey, we'd love to bring you back on with Grubhub Plus. Now we're giving it free to all the students, all
Yep.
the faculty, no delivery fees." And we're like, "Man, we're okay. And they changed their return policy,
Yeah.
like that whole process.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, sweet, let's do it. We brought out the Indiana Avenue store, Walnut, but we just haven't seen insane volume. We've seen okay, but
Yeah.
not like much. So I'm happy to hear that you're getting good Grubhub volume.
I think
'Cause
it'll
that just-
take a little time because they just introduced the Crimson Card, so it's going to take a little time to gain traction. I feel
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
the students to really know that they can do it and realize, oh wait, this is free.
Right.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and here's the thing: if you can program your own online store, that's a game changer.
That's
Because
been
then
the
you're
golden
not,
goose for us.
yeah. Then you're not paying fees out to other companies. You're not, and you can design in a way that your customers actually use your store.
Right.
Because you know how it works, right? So I think that for restaurants, I'm a huge advocate, program your own thing and design it, and it will benefit you because it's just giving these fees out to everyone makes me crazy. I'm not going to do that. So it's worked out really well.
Yeah, because we've had to, if Grubhub or DoorDash is taking 25%, our menu price has to be 25% higher. There's no point in doing it otherwise.
Right, exactly.
And it sucks because I don't, you shouldn't have to pay that much for a Blizz.
Yeah.
But if building your own site has done that well for you, I'm going to text Aaron real quick. But maybe we need to start, let's build this thing now.
Dawn said, do it now.
That's our next move.
Well, and the thing, I think the thing is that you just have to figure out your systems. I don't mind if we have to shut Grubhub off. We don't like to do it.
But I think we did it one time in the very beginning.
But our policy is to never shut our online store, period.
Yeah, well, that's good. You want people to know they can go.
Yeah, once they starts being erratic, they won't use it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And the best part was the line was out the door this weekend, and Christina Lucas, who was inducted into the IU Athletics Hall of Fame, her brother came in, and he had already ordered his food, and he forgot to get water. And he goes, how do I get water? I said, go in the online store, purchase 4 waters, and grab them.
Oh, easy enough.
And so people are figuring out, like, to get coffee, they'll just online store it, go right and get their coffee. So it's great.
That's
so
what I do at Sam's.
Super, right?
I'm just like, boop, boop, boop.
Super
just
helpful.
I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just going sitting
Yeah.
on the line.
I had to go to Sam's Club this past week for a huge catering order to get some supplies, and Saturday afternoon,
Oh, dude.
Dad's weekend. Oh,
Saturdays at Sam's Club.
Yep.
Just everyone's going around getting samples, myself included.
like Jordan, out of the way, man.
Yeah. It's like you're on the clock, dude. You got to get your stuff and get out of here. So what do you think caused you to be so popular off the bat when you started? What was like the bagel scene? Was there any bagel offerings at the time in Bloomington?
So we have been through, yes, it was Brad's, New York Bagel and Deli.
I feel like we're like Taylor Swift's dating history.
We are. Brad's, New York Bagel and Deli.
And Gable's Bagels and Travis Kelce, is that it? Yeah.
Howie's, Scholars Inn, Dunkin', Einstein's.
There was an Einstein down here?
Oh, yeah. And true story. So Einstein's is coming in. They're doing the build out. They asked me to meet with them in Indianapolis at the top of what was the Key Bank building, the boardroom. And they said, if you don't sell to us, we'll put you out of business. And I thought about it. I thought really hard. I was scared.
Like this is like an episode of Succession.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, and I just decided, no. And a couple of years later, they went out of business. We took everyone out for happy hour.
Yep.
So we've been through so many now.
There are happy endings. Is what
There
you're
are.
saying.
Yeah. And there's room for everybody. I mean, there really is. Everybody provides something different, and that's huge for us.
And competition makes us better.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, and that's we love Hartzell's. We love Jiffy.
Yes.
We have great
Yeah, you know
relationships.
how it goes. I mean, that's a perfect
And there is
example.
plenty of room for everybody.
Well,
I mean, it's not like this can only be a one ice cream town, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's a certain restaurant group in town doesn't seem to have that figured out.
I think I know who you're talking about.
I'm not going to say anything, but yeah, it stinks because there's so many good people that work for them. But I think at the very top, they see everyone as competition. It's like,
Yeah,
hey, man,
no.
we're all over here.
Look how that's
We're all
working.
collaborating.
And,
you know what I mean?
like you, I mean, we help the Village Deli out. They help us out.
Yeah.
Nick's. We all work together. I mean, for me, it's the small local business independents are always looking to help each other out.
Okay, so I have a really quick, really funny on this subject tidbit. You don't even know this story.
Oh, good.
Ooh,
I
great.
love
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
I've got tea for
Saddle
you.
up.
I love when the magic happens and I'm not there.
So this past weekend, it was Sunday. We had gotten slammed all weekend. I mean, I placed one of the biggest Cisco orders we've placed in probably a decade.
Wow.
Okay. And it was all gone. We sold so much of we blew our projections out of the water, right? Even how much to order. So it's Sunday afternoon, probably about 1:00. We're still slammed. We run out of tomatoes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot send somebody back to the commissary again, which was nice having everything, in one spot. I do miss that part of it. But I was like, I'm not sending it. We're too busy to send somebody out, right? I had already sent her home. I wasn't calling her. And I said, who did I send over? Sam England. I said, run over to Nick's Well, I said, somebody run over to Nick's and grab 2 donuts. She was like, I'm out of here. I'm going.
Dibs. Yeah.
I got dibs. I'm doing a shot. So she goes in the front door. She goes in the front door, and this is how our like Sesame Street community works. She goes in the front door. They're slammed. The guy's like, ma'am, I need your ID. I need this. She's like, I'm just here for Bloomington Bagel Company. Dawn sent me. They were like, huh? Who? Dawn? Come on back.
Yeah.
So they take her back. I mean, this is like something out of me. They take her back, and they're like, here, talk to Kip. Do you know Kip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who doesn't know Kip?
I mean, Kip and I mean, 25 years.
Right.
I mean, he's my bud. And we have always helped each other out. We just in the back alley waving at each other. He said, what does Dawn need? And she said, some tomatoes. He said, how many? She said, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. He said, oh, come here. Takes her back there, gives her a whole damn box
He did.
of tomatoes. He said, just take the whole box. Tell her I love her. And they were slammed. You understand? Like,
Yeah.
it was like wall to wall in there. And he was like, what? Dawn needs something? Come on back.
Yeah.
Takes
You
her to
got
the
it.
walk-in, hands her the tomatoes. He said, now go out the back door and you'll be right in the alley and you can go right back
Yeah.
into BBC. Tell her I said hi. That's the kind of stuff. Village Deli, they needed Impossible Sausage.
Yeah.
I was like, here you go. We needed onions the next day.
2 sticks.
Emma's handing us onions, 2 sticks.
Sticks need flour one day.
So, I mean, it's that kind of environment that, you know, if you don't let everybody know that you are inclusive and you are accepting of everyone and you bend over backwards to help everybody out. I mean, that's what this town is all about to me. And that's one of the reasons I stayed, because of the diversity and because of the love and the inclusion and everything else that is in this town. I raised my kids here. You know, this has become it wasn't my home, but I came here for college, graduated from IU, and it's just a place that I love and is in my heart. And I think it's all about giving back. And you said collaborating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know that if Aaron called me, if you called me and you're like, oh my gosh, we need a 50-pound bag of sugar. Got you. I'll run it
Yeah.
over. You know, that's
Yeah.
what we are.
Yeah, I love the little pockets, like you're saying, like those right there, because we've done it with like Elm Coffee House,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Bedrock. Like, oh, you need like hot coffee sleeves, like,
Right.
Be right
Yes.
over.
So for
we've
any of
even
those
done-
places.
well, we've even done saucer mix with Hartzell's before. It's been years,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
literally, you know, what other? You're not
My
going to see that in
favorite
Indy,
was-
I don't think. You know, competing ice cream
Yeah.
shops helping each other out. You know,
Right? No, you
my-
don't.
My
You don't.
favorite was one of the competitors that closed a long time ago.
Oh.
When they called and they asked for a base. In baking, you can order these bases, which are like a flavor of bagel and stuff, but everything's pre-mixed. And
Okay.
it's got artificial stuff.
Yeah,
and
but
all
you-
this stuff.
Your
They called
preservatives.
for a base, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, we don't use that.
yeah.
But if you want to learn how to make it from scratch, we can help
Yeah,
you. We're
yeah.
your people."
Yeah. Fast forward a year later, they're no longer.
Yeah.
Like that'll teach you.
Yeah. You gonna learn today.
They just tee you up for the
Yeah.
like holier than thou. Like,
Yep.
base.
Base. What the hell's a base?
Yeah, I remember my first time making a bagel. We've talked a little bit about both of like where we haven't really dove into where you're from. I know you said you went to IU. You said you're from the East Coast. Can we get a little bit more backstory for each of you?
Does anybody
before-
really care about that?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Like Jordan, what kind of host are you? Could you ask? That's
A personal question.
That's the question you got.
Right.
You're like, who even gave you this gig? Yeah. Hey, if we could turn this into a roast, I'm fine with it. That's cool.
Oh, I love roasts.
Oh, perfect. Yo, mama. I'm
Yeah,
just, just dive right in.
I've got all kinds. I was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana. A blizzard of 78.
In a small cabin.
In the woods.
Walk 20 miles to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're horrible. And then we moved to Florida, Lakeland, and then back to Fort Wayne. My dad was in sales. Did restaurant equipment sales and all kinds of stuff like that.
Oh.
So he moved around a lot. And then I went to high school in a little town called Logansport, Indiana. It's about an hour north of Indy. Logansport Berries,
Yeah.
about the most
Like
terrifying
berries,
mascot name.
Berries.
Yeah. Our mascot was Felix the cat.
So it would be
we were
Logansport, Felix
badass.
the cats?
And it was Logansport Berries. It's a Logan Berry.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
I know. It's pretty. I know. I'm never going to live this down. Thanks, Jordan.
That's seems like a good question now.
Here, John. Go berries.
Yeah.
This is a fern. Yeah.
Yeah, our little Logan berries.
Yep. And then I came to school at IU in '97. And I'm still here.
Had you worked in restaurants at all before?
Yeah. So my first job was a car hop at this little place in Logansport called B&K. Brenda and Kim's. It was a hot dog stand.
Did you have to dress up like a sailor there too? Just like
Like a weenie.
no,
No, but
Like the
I kind of
sailor
felt
was
like
out there,
it. kind of felt like a weenie. No, but I would go home. I remember because sometimes I think the kids are like that we work with are like, oh, I smell like bagels, and I'm like, oh, you didn't have to go home smelling like a wiener.
Yeah.
Wow.
We made our own root beer, like hot dogs, like Spanish dogs, and cheese fries. And I mean, it was amazing. But you smelled like fryer. And my dad would pick me up, and he'd be like, "Oh my god, roll down the window,
Disgusting.
put your head out the window, sit in the trunk."
Glad you have a job, but I'm disgusted.
Yeah. And so that was my first job. I was like 14. So I've always been a worker. I don't know what to do if I'm not working. Mm-hmm. And then I did some retail and things like that. And then, yeah.
I love the old root beer. That's how there's one in Culver, Indiana.
Yes.
And I always see the sign for Logansport when I drive through there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'd have to walk out and put the tray on the kind of like Sonic, but like we were the OGs.
But
right,
a little classier.
Yeah. No.
Well, we always had we called it smelling like Chuck's butter when I worked at O'Charlie's because we'd smell like the rolls.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Because they would be proofing in the back and then they'd be frozen. Obviously, we're not making O'Charlie's rolls from scratch, but there was a very distinct smell when you got done working a shift at O'Charlie's.
Just like at a bar, just like anywhere, you have that. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, I'll take yeast rolls over urine any day. So
you know.
Setting the bar high. Bodily fluids or yeast rolls.
I don't know. It's a tough call. Well, very interesting. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Of course. Little known facts.
Sue, East Coast upbringing?
Grew up Buffalo, New York. Came here for grad school. Fell in love with the place and never looked back. So I always wanted to start my own business. Since I was in high school, I would read books about starting your own business. And I noticed that I couldn't get a good bagel. And that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah, I know you said you used that original recipe. How did you decide on that recipe, and how much were you
I went and apprenticed. I went and trained with...
Oh, wow.
In Buffalo with one of the original bagel bakers from the Bagel Bakers Union. And he had carpal tunnel, horrible carpal tunnel in each wrist because it would hand roll everything. And so his wrists were like this. But it was challenging because he shared all the recipes and stuff. But they sold pumpernickel. And this pumpernickel sold like crazy. And I'm like, this is so bizarre. And then I watched them make it. And basically it was a plain bagel that they would put brown food coloring in and call it pumpernickel. And then I realized we didn't share the same values. Yeah. So that changed for me. And so some of the things on the East Coast don't work here. You know, everybody says they want a pumpernickel or a rye, but the reality is they don't really sell here. We've tried them.
Yeah.
And
the soft pretzel, though, that has been a huge
the pretzel
hit.
Bagel has been a huge hit. Huge hit. So, yeah, that's why. And I've been in Bloomington ever since.
So you just couldn't find a good bagel. You're like, I'm going to go apprentice. I'm going to open this up.
Well, I had wrote some other business plans. Like I wrote a food delivery business plan before there were food delivery companies.
And this is 95-ish?
This is 95. And, you know, the business plan, I wrote it. I looked at it. Didn't really work by the time I was done with it. And then I had someone in my life. His name was Will Hayes from Crawfordsville, Indiana. He was a best-selling author, mayor of Crawfordsville stuff. He would always say, when are we going to start our business? And I didn't take him seriously. And he meant it. He's like, when are we going to start a business together? He had never started a business. He wrote for the TV show This Is Your Life, had done all this amazing stuff. And then he made me write, he wanted to see my business plan. He sent it to his brother-in-law, who was managing partner in Deloitte & Touche, who said, it'll never work. And Will said, thank you so much. We're going to proceed.
Yeah. Thanks for nothing.
Tell us something won't work. We will try even harder.
And his son-in-law now,
Yeah.
his son-in-law is a huge supporter. So, but he gave me the $150,000 loan to start the business.
Here you are. Do you have any further plans of expansion? So yeah, what's the number of locations now?
We have 3 plus the commissary, 3 retail, catering, commissary.
Morton East done?
Yep.
Okay.
If another location was available that we liked, that met our criteria, we would absolutely do another location.
Get back onto 3rd Street
Would
or
love
like
to get
Southside,
back on the
something
3rd
like that.
Street.
Yeah.
Maybe Nashville's the way to go.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Shoot.
Really?
I never thought that store would outsell our main Bloomington mothership, but it does.
I can see it 100%.
I always thought it
crazy.
was so seasonal out there. Maybe it's not anymore.
You know, there's definitely a seasonality to it, but because we are the only other drive-through besides McDonald's, because we're like the Starbucks out there, we do a ton of coffee and hot food. So
Yeah,
it's
you
not
guys do
just
great
ice
with that.
cream.
Interesting.
In our first 2 years, they were very, very slow.
Okay.
It took a while for us to be in the routine of people coming in to visit.
Was it also, did you start adding more products?
Yeah.
Was it, you started just ice cream and then started?
Well, so we partnered with Brown County Coffee, and we
okay.
did
Yeah.
the coffee stuff from the get-go. And,
Okay.
but we opened at like 7 a.m., which
Okay.
you said you don't mind people calling in the morning. I do. I hated it.
Oh no, I
was
do
like-
hate it. I was just saying I miss when people would call in. It was just funny to see what was happening on Kirkwood.
Oh,
But no,
okay,
I didn't.
okay.
I don't love
'Cause I'm
going
just
in the
like,
morning.
Oh, that was the worst.
And
when
you
you're
have to
like,
remember,
was.
our night shift starts at like 2 a.m.
man, yeah, that's a totally different
Yeah.
ball game.
It's a whole different world.
But yeah, we expanded from the Coney dogs and all that and added in like potato wedges, mac and cheese.
Got it.
And that's really helped. But honestly, the big thing there, I mean, we started to really pop 2018, 2019, but the pandemic shot things up in Brown County because everyone was
really
going
did.
outside.
Yep.
And everyone's working remotely.
Yeah, so we, along with a lot of people we've talked to in Nashville, went up like 25, 30% in 2020.
That's amazing.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of keeps growing
Yeah.
out there. So in Nashville is just a really cool community. We're sponsoring soccer teams, baseball teams.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to. Why would you not want to be? You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean? Not even if it gives you more sales. It's just part of
The community,
doing
right?
business.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the community. You
Yeah.
actually care. You know.
Yeah.
And then you don't look like a transplant, right? You're part.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, really,
Yeah.
you are part of that community. So that's huge.
Yeah, well, and it's like, we're one county over, and like everyone knows, because we've tried doing coffee in Bloomington, it has not worked for us. Like no one thinks they think chocolate mousse, they think ice cream. But because we kind of started, we were a familiar brand, but not like intimately familiar, we were able to add in that other aspect. And out there we have a couch and a chair, and it has more of a coffee shop
Yeah.
vibe to it. And then the drive-through, obviously open
Yeah.
early. So we were able to do stuff there that we haven't been able to do, like that Indiana Avenue location. We tried opening early. We tried getting a slither of Starbucks business and failed miserably.
Yeah.
But we're slinging ice cream there. We're
Yeah.
doing okay.
Yeah, you
but,
are.
Yeah.
you gotta, like you said, throw away year 3 of the business plan. you have
Yeah.
all these ideas, and
Yeah.
very rare. Anyone that says it always works out, they think it's going to work out, is a bold-faced liar.
Yes.
I would love to tell you that I'm a genius and I figured everything out. The only thing I figured out was to make bagels and cream cheese. Everything else that we sell and we do is a direct result of the team. Coming up, I think I never imagined selling eggs. I
Yeah.
didn't imagine making muffins and scones. I didn't.
I'm glad you brought that up. I meant to bring that. I love the muffins.
Aren't they-
I kept waiting for an opportunity.
Everything
They
from
are
scratch. Everything
crazy
from scratch.
good,
Yeah.
aren't they? And they're all natural, all from scratch.
Well,
I mean, and I can eat
It's
the
our team.
hell
Our
out of
team
them.
does such a good job.
But it is. I mean, it really is. Our whole team comes up with these ideas about what direction the business should go in, and we try them.
Beet
and,
juice.
Yeah. And then we implement them, and if it works, we're all in.
Smoothies.
There you go.
Smoothies.
That was her idea. So whenever somebody has to make a smoothie, I'm like,
Oh my
Oh,
god.
yeah. It's-
make it
75
90 smoothies in a
smoothies.
day.
So the hangover, wake and bake, they get mad at you. Smoothies,
Yeah.
they get mad
Oh,
at
they
you.
totally get
That's
mad.
all her. She can have that all day.
Freaking-
I don't want that smoke.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I don't know about you, but I don't know. Our whole life now is iced lattes.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's insane.
I love iced lattes, so I'm one of the
vanilla
people.
iced latte over and over and over again.
Well, I did your hazelnut like iced coffee
Yeah.
with just some oat milk when I was out
Yeah.
there yesterday. on the
Partridge
east
and
side.
Quigley.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
That's where we get our hazelnut iced coffee. Or our
Right.
hazelnut coffee. They do our coffee. They're fantastic. So
I know we showed some love to like Nick's and Village Deli and
Yeah.
some of your other like people you partner with. Where do you guys like to go out to eat? What are some places that like you really enjoy in town?
Uptown's super consistent.
Yeah,
You
I mean
know,
that's their
it's-
calling card. Is
it is
just
their
you-
calling card.
every
Shrimp and
time.
grits.
Yeah.
our shrimp and
It
grits
is
is the
totally. I like Da Vinci a lot. In the pandemic, we did a lot of Osteria.
Oh, that's
They,
they're
so
they
good.
do a
top
great
3
job.
for me.
So
I love
good.
them so much. Cody
Yeah.
does an amazing job.
We love to support the deli.
best. Yes.
You know, Soma.
Cody brought us down breakfast one day, some frittatas.
oh,
They were,
nice.
oh, they
Yeah.
were delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're really good. What do
Big
you like?
Woods. I like Big Woods.
Yeah, okay.
They do a really
Yeah.
good job.
I know. I'm right there with it's one. And I'm just,
One, Mr. Miyagi. Where's my chopsticks? La Una.
yeah.
Do you know what? My boyfriend, when he comes down, he's in Indy, and they've got all kinds of great. That's his favorite place to go when he comes down here. He's like,
Interesting.
let's go to La Una. There, I just love. I love decor, and
Right.
I love good Hispanic food. I am a pushover. Taco Tuesday
that.
every day.
Well, shout out to Ali Powell with Third Eye Design. She did the La Una like
I
interior
know.
and all that. And
Okay,
Gorgeous.
that interior is
yeah,
fantastic.
she is so insanely good
Yeah.
at what she does. But yeah, the food there, I think Dean Workerman is the one that like came up with
Yep.
the menu when they started.
He's quite a chef. He's
Yeah.
really good. Taste of India's really gotten really good.
Indian food, too.
And I think
Oh.
there's so many Indian students here now that it's elevated the game a bit.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's been really interesting. And they're at the kitchen share.
Yeah, shout out to who was it that you
Tab's
went and got?
Kitchen.
I
Tab's
haven't
Kitchen.
tried them yet. 'cause
I tried it, and the biryani was. Katie was fighting me for it.
I'm really mad I didn't have you order that for me. I regret that moment.
And I had a mango lassi that Katie never got because I drank the whole thing.
I wanted to. Everything they've posted looks so good. I've wanted to try it, but it's like
Yeah.
you have to.
You have to
plan
like
ahead,
pre-order,
I
and
don't-
we go
I'm
to the
not a-
commissary anyways.
Yeah,
so-
well, it works out. You're there. Well, we're out of time.
Yeah.
Pizza,
You got-
sorry. Pizza X.
Oh,
Pizza
there you
X.
go.
Sorry, let me get that in there. Jay.
Pizza X Hive. Let me get it all in one
everybody.
word.
I feel bad because I was ready to interview him and ask him more questions.
I know.
So,
Well,
yeah.
we can
We'll
keep
do this
going.
again.
Yeah.
I have to
I
go.
gotta
See you,
go. You
Dawn.
can-
There you go. And if I don't get some food, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Oh yeah, no, I'm this. I
No,
always.
this is so fun.
I know I'm going to be talking about food, so I'm always like, I have to eat
Oh.
like 30 minutes before we start.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, I made a tactical error.
Yeah, I've got
Rookie
it down.
mistake.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Honestly,
thank
this
you.
was
This
so
was
much
really
fun.
fun. You're doing such a great job with this.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing the community together, the food service community, but also the Bloomington community. I think people are really invested, and we wouldn't be where we are without the community support. And you're bringing that all together for people, and I think it's fantastic. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah,
I agree. I second that, and I think you're freaking hilarious, which I love.
You guys
I
can
just
come on anytime.
You're so.
Yeah.
I know. That's my thing. I love to banter. I love to laugh. Like I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
I mean this. You like hit my laugh quota for the week. So
Good. Well, as soon as you guys walked in, we were already bantering,
Yeah.
like riffing, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I was like, I'm excited.
Oh, we'll riff all day.
And tech support, thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah. G-Man,
Unsung hero,
Shout out.
thanks so much.
Mr. Fortinga.
Yep.
Thank you guys so
Great
much.
time.
Thanks, guys. What another great episode. Thanks again to Visit Bloomington for being our Season 5 title sponsor. If you haven't checked them out yet, go to visitbloomington.com. This episode of the No Dishes podcast was recorded, edited, and produced by Garrett Portinga of Green Hat Media in beautiful downtown Bloomington, Indiana.
No dishes.
No Dishes Media.
No Dishes Media.